Okay, let's have a look at the back wheels. First of all, use your big massive forearms and rip that off. Rest your knees on this, get your jack. So what we want to do is jack this up and just jack it up on that little cross member there. Can you see that little cross member there? Let's get the jack under it and give a pumpy like this. Show you how many pumps do you think this will take to get in the air. 1 potato, 2 potato, 3 potato, 4, 5 potato, 6 potato, 7 potato more. So what we've done, before you jack it, I forgot to say, chock the front wheels. Got 2 bits of wood under my wheels, of bricks. Take the old wheel off. And with the strength of 1,000 bears, with this mighty hand, I'll just rip that wheel off. Again, stick it underneath the car, just in case there's any accidents. Can fall on the wheel. Here's our rear hub. This bad boy here. Hold your breath. Brake pads used to be made of asbestos, so they were very dangerous. I used to work on the railways, and when a 125 high-speed train used to come down and brake, it was like there was a bonfire, and we used to breathe all that dust in. And the amount of old boys that must have died from asbestos poisoning through British Rail. But now they say this is synthetic. I don't know. But best hold your breath, give it a couple of whacks, don't go mental, you're not on the coconut shy. See that dust come out of there? Give it a couple of whacks to loosen it off. Get your screwdriver, which is here, and undo that nut there. If that's turning like that, and you can't hold it, even gritting your teeth won't work. So if you can't do it because it's spinning, put the handbrake on. Don't put a lot of weight in the car. Right, she's tough. So I've got an impact wrench inside. I can't be able to get it. Little 6mm spanner fits around there. That's why these are like that, funny enough. We do put it in there. A lot of pressure, push into the car, a lot of pressure, keep a good firm grip on it. And then this, go near it, I don't know why, physics I suppose. And then as you're pushing and turning, see that? And that is all it took to get that off. 6mm. Beer for thinking, down there for dancing, right? Don't forget, release the handbrake, because you will not get that hub off with a handbrake on. So just release the handbrake now. There we go, now we got it off. Hold your breath again, tappity tap tap. And there she is. See that dust? So what we'll do is I'll put that on here. See that? See how it's a little bit rusty there? But it's all right, that. And if we look at the brakes, see, these are shoes, these are brake shoes here. See that? That's the meat. And that's the meat. I tell you what, these are pretty good. There's not much difference between these and new ones. However, if you look, you see they're glazed. See, that's called glazing, where it's been rusty. So what I think I'm going to do is I'm going to sand this down. I'll show you how to do it, and sand the hub down. First of all, get a bit of sandpaper. This is just a bit of P80. Get in the drum and just move it round, sanding it. While you're sanding it, just think about things that you would be doing if you weren't doing this. Think about things like maybe having a swim on a tropical island beach, maybe a cold beer by a swimming pool, or maybe having a swim with a cold beer. Now see that? Can you see the difference straight away? See, it's clean now. I'm going to carry on with that and I'll show you it in a minute. See the difference? See, now we've got the rust off it. Those shoes will grip that nicely now. Now if you look at the shoes, can you see they're glazed? What you do is you take a light bit of sandpaper and you take that top layer off, you'll see what I mean. You sand that down and see the colour underneath? Can you see it went from that dark side? I'll show you, let me carry on with this one, I'll show you this side to the other side. Can you see? Can you see the little bits of metal in it? See how clean that is? All the way now. All I did was give that a light sand in. See, there's still a little bit of glaze in there. I'll take that off now. But come and compare that to this side. Can you see the difference? Look at the glazing on it. Yeah? That's the pad there. That's called glazing, where all the rust and the dust and everything bakes to the shoe. So just give this a clean. The old brake and clutch cleaner. Same old thing. Clean the shoes all up like that. Can you see the difference? Can you see those little bits of look like gold? And so let me just explain how this works. See, if Townie was to put the handbrake on now, these brake shoes come out, and this here is a self-adjuster. You see that little thing there? Every time you brake and you burn some of this material off, this self-adjuster clinks out. So if you kept putting the handbrake on now and your foot on the brake pedal, they would just keep coming out, and you won't be able to get the hub back over it because it would have gone past your hub. See how clean that is? Look at that. It's like brand new, because that has to sit over there. See? So when you're doing this, don't ever use the brake pedal and don't use the handbrake, because they'll just keep coming in and out. Now, why these are so thin, you'll say, God, look at that, that looks worn out. But that's why it is, because on a car it's like the same as a motorbike. When you brake, so this is my car, all the weight is on the front. So that's why the brake discs, especially on Bentleys, are this big, because they're so powerful. All the weight of the car brakes on the front. Hardly any brake is on the back. Very minimal. I couldn't tell you the statistics, but I would say, you know, nearly 80% of braking is on the front and then very little on the back. That's why the shoes. And what you've got is you've got a leading shoe and a trailing shoe. So that's why they're shaped. You'll have a leading shoe and a trailing shoe. And that's how it works. And one shoe will always wear more than the other because it's used more. This cable here comes in, comes round and connects to a piston down here, and that's what applies your handbrake. When you pull those come out, and that will click round a notch. And when you hit your foot on the brake pedal, what happens is hydraulic fluid comes into this. This is called a slave cylinder, and those two pistons come out. This expands, hits this drum, and brake. Same thing again. If this is all dirty and cloggy, what will happen is it gets super hot, it won't be able to grip. These pads need to grip this so tight that it slows you down, and if it's all full of dirt and clog, it can't do that. That's why it's important when you wash your car, you steam clean your brakes as well. So what we're going to do is get this back together now. Just give that another clean off. It's pretty much the reverse. What I like to do is around this hub, stick a little bit more copper grease around there, copper slip, because when they get hot, sometimes that hub, it can stick to this and it's hard to get off, especially lorry ones. When you bash lorry ones, God, they stick right on there. So I get some around there. Again, when you're locating it, that nut hole there has to line up with that one, not these two, that one, because it's countersunk. Just put a bit of grease in there, get that up. Right. So get that in there, like that. Because the handbrake's not on, that is turning. So I'll put this in here, maybe a little bit of grease in there, you know, because that was hard to get out last time. Screw that in there. You say, why such a small screw to hold that on, that hub? Well, reason being is I like deep fried chicken. Reason being is you got the wheel nuts go through there, and that holds all that nice and tight. Now if Townie goes in and applies the handbrake, I'll show you something. See, this is turning, this is turning. It's got the handbrake on now. See, you can't turn it because it's locked. Okay, I put the wheel back on. So you lift it up, slide it on, and try and get it into position, because it'll make it easier when you put your wheel nuts on. Now when you put your wheel nuts on, always start them off with your hands in your fingers, because if you start cranking them up, what happens is you can put them on cross-threaded and you'll be in trouble. When you do them up, do them in star pattern. There, there, there. Always do them up in a star pattern. Remember, don't go wild. Take them to torque, because when you break down on the side of the road, the wheel bar they give you is that big. Unless you've got forearms like Big Daddy, you're not going to get that off. Now when you lower the jack, because our bits of wood are there, we've applied the handbrake, but always release jack slowly. Put that in and twist it down slowly. See, don't go wild. And that's it. That is how I save you money. Maybe you could go to a theme park. Maybe you could have a hot meal tonight. That is how you change the brakes on a Peugeot 107. A Citroen, most probably be the same, because they're all interchangeable parts. Like and subscribe, more videos for Mr. Fix It.